If you've ever thought, why can't people just do things properly? This might be you. This is Enneagram Type 1. Ones have a strong sense of what's right. They notice what could be improved almost instantly. They're thoughtful, reliable, and hold themselves to very high standards. But that same voice can turn inward. That pressure to get things right can become constant self-criticism. You might replay things in your head, thinking about what you should have done better, even when no one else noticed. At their best, ones bring integrity, fairness, and real care into everything they do. It's not about being perfect. It's about learning to soften that inner critic. If you're usually the one checking whether everyone else is okay, this might be you. This is Enneagram Type 2. Twos are warm, generous, and deeply tuned into other people's needs. They know how to make people feel welcome, supported, and cared for. But they can also slip into overgiving, doing so much for other people that they lose touch with what they need themselves. You might find it easier to offer help than to ask for it, and harder than people realize to admit when you're hurt, tired, or disappointed. At their best, twos bring real warmth, connection, and heart. The work is learning that your needs matter too. If you've learned how to look capable even when you're falling apart a bit underneath, this might be you. This is Enneagram Type 3. Threes are driven, adaptable, and often very good at succeeding. They know how to read a room, rise to expectations, and become what works. They're often impressive, productive, and hard to stop. But the problem is, they can start performing their life instead of living it. You might be so focused on achieving, improving, or keeping it together that you lose touch with how you actually feel. At their best, threes bring energy, focus, and real inspiration. The work is learning that your value is not just in what you do, but in who you are when you stop performing. Some people don't just feel emotions, they feel them more deeply, more vividly, and more personally. That's often what sits underneath Enneagram Type 4. Fours tend to be highly attuned to what is missing, what is different, and what feels uniquely theirs. They're often drawn to meaning, identity, and emotional truth, sometimes more than comfort or stability. They can experience beauty and sadness in the same moment, and may find themselves holding on to feelings others would move past more quickly. At their best, they're deeply creative, emotionally honest, and able to articulate experiences that are hard to put into words. But they can also feel misunderstood or set apart as though something essential is just out of reach. For a 4, the question is not just, how do I feel, but what does this say about who I am? If you've ever felt like you'd rather observe than participate, this might be you. This is Enneagram Type 5. Fives are curious, analytical, and drawn to understanding how things work. They tend to think things through deeply before acting. They value independence and often feel most comfortable in their own space. But they can also withdraw, holding back their time, energy, and even their presence. You might find yourself watching life rather than fully stepping into it, and feeling drained by too much interaction. At their best, fives bring insight, clarity, and depth. The work is learning it's safe to engage, not just observe. If you're the one who always thinks, what could go wrong? This might be you. This is Enneagram Type 6. Sixes are thoughtful, loyal, and very aware of potential risks. They tend to think things through carefully and prepare for what might happen. They're often the ones keeping things safe, steady, and secure. But that same awareness can turn into anxiety. You might find your mind jumping ahead, imagining worst-case scenarios, even when things are actually okay. At their best, sixes bring loyalty, courage, and grounded support. The work is learning to trust yourself, not just your fears. If you're always looking for the next thing to look forward to, this might be you. This is Enneagram Type 7. Sevens are curious, upbeat, and full of ideas. They're drawn to possibility, variety, and anything that makes life feel more alive. They bring energy, optimism, and a sense that something fun could happen at any moment. But they can also struggle with limits. When life feels boring, heavy, or emotionally messy, they often move faster. Another plan, another idea, another distraction. You might be brilliant at reframing things, but not always at staying with disappointment. At their best, 7s bring joy, imagination, and momentum. The work is learning that freedom does not have to mean running from the hard stuff. If you have a low tolerance for weakness, fakeness, or people trying to control you, this might be you. This is Enneagram Type 8. 8s are strong, direct, and not afraid of confrontation. They value honesty, self-respect, and being able to protect themselves and the people they care about. They do not like feeling vulnerable, and they can come across as intense even when they are just being straightforward. You might be the one who says what everyone else is thinking, or the one who steps in when something feels unfair. At their best, 8s bring courage, protection, and real leadership. The work is learning that softness is not the same thing as weakness. They do not like feeling vulnerable, and they can come across as intense even when they are just being straightforward.
If you're interested in the psychology behind human behavior, visit our sponsor at psychdom.com for psychology articles, personality insights, and a range of free and paid tests covering topics like the dark triad personality traits, attachment style, big 5 personality traits, enneagrams, relationship astrology, and more.